Hi, in this video I'm going to go through Google Forms. I'm going to show you how you can create form. You can use it for surveys or you can convert it eventually to a quiz. I'm going to create the form from Drive. I'm going to go to my Drive and I want to create it inside this folder called Training. So I go inside the folder, double click on the folder called Training. When I'm inside, I'm going to click plus, new, and it will allow me to scroll down and create a Google Forms. The first thing it will do, the form will be untitled, so make sure that you give it a title. Um, the atom, for those who know me, I'm an exercise teacher or a chemistry teacher, so I'm going to call it the atom so we can convert it later on to a quiz. If you're using it as a survey, you might want to start your survey with asking the student about their name. You can do it in two lots. I always do that in two lots. I ask them about their first name and I add another question and ask them about their um, family name or surname. The reason why I do that is because if it's a survey, you're not collecting the emails. You need to know what the surveys, who's filling in the survey. Now, if you can see in here, it's clicking that this is a required and then there is a star. That means they cannot submit the survey unless this question is completed. Now, sometimes you need to check your settings. It might not be automatically set to all questions are required. So where do I do that? I check it in the settings button, the defaults of a setting. So I click on the question default and then make questions required by default. If this is unticked, and I go now back and add a new question, you see it's not required. I need to manually go and make it required. Usually I go for my preference in the settings and make all questions required, and then if one question is not actually required, then I untick it. Okay, so we've got the first name, we've got the family name. Now we can put our questions. Which particle is located inside the nucleus, and I'm going to put a multi-choice, and then in this one I'm going to put option 1, I'm going to put neutron, and I'm going to put electron. And I'm going to put cell wall. Okay. I'm gonna add another question, and this question is not gonna be a multi-choice. Name the subatomic particle, and there's gonna be short answer. Also, you see it's automatically required. I'm gonna put another question, which is different now. It's a checkbox. Select all that applies, and then I can list all all correct statements, for example, and then I can put the statements. Um, the For example, the electron is, I cannot type today, negatively charged. The electron is positively charged. You got the idea. The proton has no charge, and so on. The proton is positively charged, and so on. You can put as many as you want, and then this allows the student to tick or to check multiple boxes. This is another type of question. Another thing that you can do, you can, for example, add an image, and then you can ask questions about that image. I'm going to go and Google Images, and I'm going to put atom, and let's see what comes up. I'm going to put this one and insert. Then this gives you an like the image itself. You can put it, give it a title, and then if I look at these, I can move it up or down. I can move it. So this is the image, and then I can ask questions about the image. I can do the same with videos. If I'm here, I can insert a video, and then subatomic particles, and subatomic particle, find this video, and then insert it, and then it can be like watch the video and answer the questions below, and then like move it on top of that question and start asking questions about the videos. Now you can edit the font of your questions. Now this part allows you to create sections. What do we use the sections for? Usually we don't use them much in quizzes, or we can actually in practice sets. We can use sections. So this allows us to put questions based on students' answer. For example, I'm going to create two sections, section 2 and section 3, and then in here I'm going to have a question, a yes or no question, and then we'll allow students to go to sections based on answer. How do we do that? Sorry, let's put this one, move this one here. Okay, so option 1 is yes, option 2 is no. Do you agree with, and then you can give them a statement or whatever the question is. Now in here, I click on the 3 dots, and then I go to sections based on answer. I click that one, and then these appear. Okay, so what does that mean? If they answer yes, then that takes them to section 2, and then if they answer no, I take them to section 3. I go to section 2 and then fill in questions related to those or the situation that yes applies to. And then in here, after section 2, I click on it and then put submit form. And for those who answered no, they will go immediately to section 3 and then submit the form. So this is useful when you're having a survey. Like for example, if students are interested in going to a trip, for example, a yes or a no. If no, they're not interested, then they submit it straight away. They don't need to fill in their information. If yes, they're interested, for example, they can fill in all the information required, and then they get the consent form, etc., etc. So this is what the sections are usually for. They're to direct the survey based on answers. So first you need to create the sections, and then after that you go to the answers and then select which section they go to based on their answers. So these are different types of questions that you can create in a Google form. Let's see what other types of answers there are. Be short answer, paragraph if you want, them to write more excessively, multiple choice, check boxes, drop down. Drop down is important, especially if you want to preserve you want the data to be clean. I used to ask the students to write in their form, and then it was all a mess. They write it in different format, and then I moved to select your form, and then I started to say like I don't know, 10 AH and so on. This way the data is cleaner. If you're asking, for example, about nationality as well, Some will say Lebanon, some will say Lebanese. And if you want the data to be cleaner, you can use a drop down instead of typing an answer. The other type of questions or answers that you can do is upload a file if you want them to upload a consent form, for example, or a proof of payment or anything that you want them to do. You can choose upload a file. But when you do that, then you need to make sure that you have the file size specified and the number of files. Allow only specific type, like if you wanted a PDF, for example, or you wanted any specific, then you click on this one and you select the type of file you want to upload. And then in here, this form can accept up to 1 GB of files. This is very important. The individual size file, you select it from here. So if you're expecting images, then you go for larger per single file, and then for the whole form, you click on it, and then the total size limit for all uploaded file. If you are expecting images, you need to go to bigger size, and otherwise the form will be full, and then it will close. It will be unable to accept, and you change the size of the uploaded files. So make sure if you are asking the students to upload files, that your settings are set to be able um, to accept files like bigger files. If not, after a couple of submissions, your form will be full and it will tell you unable to accept any more answers or any more submissions. So this is when you have a file upload. Let's look at another type of questions. Linear scale. This allows the student to this allows you to have a linear scale, for example, 1 to 9 or 1 to 10, and then for students to select. So in here, 1 to 5, and then you label them. Like 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest, and so on. The other types of multi-grid, multiple choice grid, and tick box grid, this allows you to have more than one answer. Like for example, multi-choice grid, you put how many rows, how many columns, and then you put your answers, and based on that, the person will select their choices. And the other one is the last one is the tick box grid. The tick box grid is similar to tick box, but it allows you to put it in a grid format, and then they need to select like one from each line. The last two that I want to show you is date and time. If you select a date, then the option has to be a date. If they fill in something else, it's not going to accept it. It will give them an error. And the last one is time. If you ask them about time, it also they're expected to put a time format. If they put something else, it will not accept it. Let's go back to like regular questions that we filled in, and then I'm going to show you how we can convert this form into a quiz. I'll go back to settings, and then the first thing in settings, it asks you make this a quiz, and then if we click yes on this one, then a few things appear. Missed questions, you check these, and then you decide what you want to enable or disable based on what you want. Locked mode works only if you're using Chromebooks. If you put locked mode on, it means that if they're using Chromebooks, they're not going to be able to open any other tab. It's just the quiz that is there. So for those in primary who use Chromebooks, that might be useful for you. The default question point value is 1. It means you can change it for every individual question if you want, but the default one is one. So this all appeared when I click this button, make this a quiz. I go back to questions and see what happened when I changed that to a quiz. As you can see, it says locked mode is on. Only respondent using managed Chromebooks can open this quiz. If you're not using a Chromebook, you can't open it. So you need to be very careful whether you enable this one or not. Now this one, I'm gonna click on this multi-choice. You see, I cannot type nucleus now. Okay. Now, after I made it a quiz, you see this appeared, answer key, and then it has a default of 1 point. If I click at answer key, which particle is located inside the nucleus, I'm going to click on neutron because that's the correct answer, and then put done. And then this one has 1 point. It allows you to change it if you want to, and then click on done. So that means I have a multi-choice and I marked the correct answer. Now, um, if the student fills in this survey and they answer correctly, they will automatically get 1 point. This will autocorrect. Let's click on this one and then name the subatomic particle. If I click on answer key, add a correct answer, and then I'm going to put neutron, proton, neutron, and then I'm going to put proton, and I'm going to put electron. Okay, so all these are correct answers, and then I'm going to give it 3 points because it's worth, and then mark all other answers as incorrect, and then I'm going to click done. Okay. And this will allow the students to answer correctly. Again, I click on answer key, choose the correct statement. Negatively charged, the proton is positively charged, and then done. You can add a feedback if you want, and so on. So this allowed me to change my existing form into a quiz. So you can create the form in advance and then eventually change it to a quiz, which means you're going to be able to quantify the amount of points for every question, and you can put the answer key. Now, once everything is complete, I want to, there are two things that we can do. We can preview the form so we can see it as a student. You see, it says it cannot access this quiz because it's on locked mode. So I'm going to go back to setting and then remove the locked mode. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to preview. I'm going to see that, so it indicates the questions. This one, I put it as a default, it collects email addresses. Also from the setting, you can remove that. First name, surname, the questions are there. And here, because I put it as a yes or no, it's not going to take me to the other sections unless I answer either yes or a no. So the point is you can preview your quiz with this eye. You can change the theme of your quiz with this editing tool, and you can send the quiz or your form. To send it, you click on send, and then in here, collect email addresses verified or do not collect. That removes this email thing that I showed you earlier. You can send it to each individual person by typing their email if it's on the email, or what I use most frequently is I use a link. If you want to show the link, I advise you to shorten the link. Click on shorten the link and then copy paste the link as is in an email or in a letter, or however you want it to be, or in Classroom, but we'll show you later on how you can do it directly from Google Classroom. And then you copy that link and you share it with whomever you want to fill in the form. This is how you share. This is the most used method by myself, but you choose whatever is more convenient to you. You can embed it as well in a website or in any other place that accepts this format. Okay, so this is how we create a Google form, how we can change it to a quiz. You can do it as a quiz from the very beginning. You see the atom, when I clicked on the title, it picks up the same title. Now, once you've done with your form and you want to collect the responses, you go to responses, and then at the moment it says 0 responses because no one filled it in, and it is still accepting responses. Okay, now, and in here you see that there is a link to Sheets. When I click on this one, create a new spreadsheet, which is called the Atom Responses, I'm going to create. So whenever someone fills in a form, the data will be automatically collected in this spreadsheet. The headers are actually the titles, and then you can get the answers. Let's try to fill in this form just to see how things look like. I need to fix the first question because name, and then it says option 1. I'm gonna edit this one, and it's not multi-choice, it's a short answer, and I'm gonna try and edit it. Sorry, view it. So first name is gonna be Haifa, surname Homsi, and then let's answer incorrectly and see what happens. And then name the subatomic particle. I'm gonna put only 1. Okay, and then I'm gonna put these 2, and then in here we have nothing. I'm gonna put yes and then put next. See, it took me to the other section, but I did not put any questions there. So I'm gonna click submit. View score. Let's see what my score is. I scored 0 out of 15 because my answers were not correct. Okay, let's go back to the sheet now, and then I'm gonna see the timestamp, my total score, first name, surname, and then what I answered for each individual question. You can filter these if you want, and then based on that, you can send comments to the students or build your next lesson based on their answers. This is very, very briefly how you can use forms to check the students' learning. It doesn't need to be long. It can be 5 questions as a plenary at the end of a lesson. Very effective. And as you can see in here, I have 1 response because I filled it myself and submitted it. And then after you're done with your responses, if you no longer want to accept any responses, you click on this one. Not accepting responses means even if someone tries to fill it in, it's not gonna allow them. I hope you find this useful, especially if you're creating or if you're using forms for quizzes as a teachers, or also for surveys. And I find forms very, very, very powerful in collecting data and analyzing data.